Hello, boys and girls and families at home. I hope you enjoyed your fall break. Let's get started on our next adventure for flipped learning with our fluency folders. Here are a few gentle reminders or tips to keep in mind when you're working with your child. Spend no more than 15 or 20 minutes a night working on this Monday through Thursday. Sit in a quiet place free of distractions and noise. If your child is struggling to complete the full page of reading fluency and math fluency each night, do just parts of it each evening and try to do both pages in full by Thursday. Make it a goal. Please keep in mind, when practicing these skills, it will take time for your child to learn them and know them well, or achieve mastery is what we call that. As your child gets better with the skills, you will see them be able to do each part fast and certain and correct, and then it will make such a huge difference in their learning. Finally, remember to praise your child for a job well done. Let's get started. When you look at the letters section at the top, remember that your child needs to name each letter as fast and correctly as they can. If the letters have become too easy for them, have them name the letter sounds instead. This will challenge them to move forward. In the next area, ending sounds, remember that you say the word first and then your child says the ending sound. For example, you say hair and they say to make the ending sound stand out. In the next area, sight words, you may point to each word or help your child point to each word and say them out loud or read them as fast as they can. If this is too hard, you may try saying the word first and then having your child echo read it back to you. Moving on to the next section called words, your child is going to say each letter sound in the word and then zap them or blend them back together to say the word or read it. Like this: ha, ham. In the final section on this page called sentences, if your child is not reading yet on their own and they're still working on their sight word vocabulary, it's best to take an I read, we read, you read approach with these sentences. For example, you would read, "Look at the brown dog." Then you would both read it together, and finally your child would read it on their own. When you're ready, move on to the math side. The first area is called more and fewer. You're going to have your child look at the first tens frame. Ask them to tell you the number of dots they see quickly. Hopefully they're subitizing. That means they see 4 because they've been learning to subitize and just tell you the number they see without actually counting it. If they're not doing that yet, it's okay for them to count. First, have them say the number, then ask them what is 1 more and 2 more, but have them use the strategy we call counting on. So they would say 4 and count on 1 more, 5. 4, 5, 6 for 2 more. Do the same thing with 1 and 2 fewer, but this time have them count backwards, or you can cover up the dots to help them see what 1 or 2 fewer is equal to. In the next section, ordering numbers, the first group of numbers, you're going to ask your child to point to the number that is out of order. With the second group of numbers, you're going to ask your child how you would put those numbers in the correct order. You might try using some magnetic numbers or make your child a set of index cards. If you don't have those materials at home, please ask your teacher. We'll be glad to provide them for you. In this last section called 10 frame, you're going to help your child to identify and say the number of dots they see in each tens frame. There are 5 different frames you're going to work with. In the first one, you would want them to say, I see 5 in the first row, then 2 more in the second row of the tens frame. 5, then 2 more, always equals 7. And move right along to the next tens frame. If I see 5 in the top row and 5 in the bottom row, I know that 5, then 5 more is always 10. How do I know that? I can count them to be sure. Or something else you might talk to them about is, how do we know this is 7? I see 3 empty spaces. So 10 and 3 fewer is always 7 would be another way to explain the 7 dots in the first 10 frame. I want to remind you that the reason that we work on these wonderful number activities is not so much to talk about and explain what you're seeing as much as it is to build their sense of number. The better that they understand a group of numbers or a number symbol helps them to really be able to, in the future, be better at adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So having that real strong sense or understanding of number is what this is going to help them to achieve. Thanks so much. Keep up the good work.